Welcome back to the Jen and Sean Show. I'm Jen.
And I'm still Sean. The conclusion of our travel light, let's call it experiment, was a failure. It's been a real struggle. But you have to use the strap to strap down the boot. We've got so much crap. See how that goes.
We're travelling light.
Travelling light changed Japan for us. So the whole luggage packing light. Theory is sound, but in practice difficult if you're picking things up. It was a failure
A massive failure.
in a few dimensions. The idea was to be able to travel Japan on this trip without being encumbered, without being loaded down. It didn't happen because of probably shopping. We did have some success at the start.
Packing element actually worked, and for what we needed, being in Tokyo, we were cool.
Yeah.
Until we went to Skytree Town and went shopping. And then all the stuff that we didn't need accumulated, and it was like, oh, where the fuck are we going to put all that?
Yeah. It's this big bag. This has got snow gear. Lots of souvenirs, snow boots. We're hoping to post bags. And we've got another one over here as well. Probably 100, 150 bucks. It'll take 2 months to arrive. The postage experience varied. Okay, so updates. We in fact were not able to get through. So we've had to do it all again. Depending on what sort of post office you got and the people behind the counter.
I'm going to say we had the extremes. We had the not helpful and the very helpful. The
So that's
Osaka
okay.
one was not helpful. Osaka was beyond helpful.
Yep.
Like just chalk and cheese. Yep.
No, they were terrific. Japanese post in Osaka. Brilliant.
They were so good.
They really
were
we
so helpful.
walked in there with about nearly 20 kilos of shit to post back.
2 giant bags.
In 2 giant bags. They saw us and just took a huge breath. And then when they worked out we were Australian though, they actually changed their tune a little bit because one of them had an interesting story about it.
He actually had his niece and nephew studied in Australia about 10 years ago, and he said that they had such a wonderful experience and were so well looked after by the Australian people that now he likes to pay it forward whenever he gets Australians coming in, that he goes out of his way to help them. So that was really lovely.
That's really sweet.
But these guys were great. They were amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
No. The suitcases weren't up to the job, were they?
No.
The zippers are gone, so we're going to put some belts around him. Crisis number 1, and we're getting him out of the hire car. And after he shat himself. Alright, you bastards.
No, they haven't really held up.
Cheap luggage. The wheels were a bit gammy, they'll only roll one way, which caused a lot of frustration when you're trying to push them around. We made use of taxis. We're in our first cab ever, which is really interesting. Isn't it? They're heated.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Taxis were great.
They
were great. Very cost effective, I think. Very comfortable. Very swanky. Had doilies on everything. And a DVD player in the back.
So we've just arrived at Osaka station. All of our bags are just sucking right now. They're really hard and heavy and whatnot. Jen has gone and spoke to a lovely taxi driver. And what's happened then, Dan?
Saved.
When used properly, they can be a godsend because we use them strategically when we did have a lot of bags and we needed to get to our accommodation where we were setting up for multiple days.
Yeah.
That hassle of the last leg or the last mile is alleviated when you take something like an Uber. Yep, you can get a train. Yep, you can get a bus. But when you're carrying backpacks, suitcases and then extra shopping, it just becomes a bit of a nightmare and can turn your day into a pear shape pretty quickly.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the whole opportunity cost thing. It's just easier to go, do you know what? I'm going to get a cab.
Yep. And the weather as well can also influence this. It was raining on a couple of times and we just went, no, this is just going to be difficult. So, yep, you can also walk, which is a great option. If your bags are rolling well, the weather's great and you've got good energy levels as well.
Yeah.
But often you won't have that. So, but that being said, if you're travelling through Japan and your intent to buy quite a bit of souvenirs that needs to be planned significantly. Using the options that we've done throughout the trip worked well for us because we shopped heavily. I found that it's great if you're not buying a lot of touristy things. You can travel light successfully. Closing comments on the whole luggage experiment?
I think our intentions were good at the start, but we need to rethink it on how it's actually going to work in practice. It's good not having to drag suitcases around Tokyo for a few days, but you got to bear in mind that you're in Tokyo. There's going to be shopping to be done.
But we may also have a place to store winter gear over there as well in the next 12 months, which will make a huge difference.
A big part of our planning for this trip was to spend some time looking for Akiya.
For those of you that are just joining us, in our last episode, we showed you that we've engaged with the Akiya Mart team, which are the people behind the Akiya Mart website, which gives you insights as to where some of these properties are right across Japan.
Normally we would plan out our Japan trip every year and go and see some different areas that we hadn't seen, but it was more touristy, sightseeing, those sort of things. This time we actually locked in almost a week of travelling around different areas that we hadn't previously been to look at some abandoned homes. So those areas were primarily Yudanaka, Joetsu and Myoko.
Not forgetting Iyama, Nozawa Onsen.
Yeah, well, they weren't on the list initially, but they were added bonuses when we realised how close they were, and they were in between all the other towns that we were looking at.
Using those areas that we'd zeroed in on because they were
accessible to the snowfields.
What we thought were potentially emerging snow country towns that weren't overrun by our fellow countrymen. Bless them.
Bless them, yeah. And also areas that hadn't already been priced out. So looking particularly at Myoko and Myoko Kogan, unless you're looking to spend upwards of 100K, which we're not, you're not going to get anything in that area now. It's already priced out. So
that's right.
We've crossed that off our list now, and we're looking at areas that are a little bit further afield but still quite accessible to those snow areas.
Some of the areas like Myoko Kogan, Nozawa Onsen, we sort of found through channels of those that we've been researching online, Facebook, friends, a handful that were recommended to us as well that we had no idea about.
Yeah, that's right.
One of those was Yudanaka, other areas, to really get a feel for not just what it looks like through the internet, but what's the vibe?
We found a big cow.
What's the town like? Is it completely, foreign, overrun, or is it something that's still got a sense of history, sense of culture that we could really buy into and become part of? Initially as a holiday home / Airbnb, but potentially something more. We've spent a good part of our trip going through that, and what we want to show in our future episodes will be each of these regions.
All right, so we've arrived in Yudanaka, and we're going to look at first Akiya. Oh my God, hang on.
First Akiya, which is pinned off Akiya Mart
Yep.
a little while ago. I don't know if it's still available, but we just thought we'd try and get an idea of what's here.
Yep.
And see if we can find it.
So we're going to go have a look.
Let's go find out what's what.
Let's do it.
We'll show the houses that we've pinpointed.
Yep.
Our experience with the Akiya Mart website, which was varied. Your experience will vary depending on what you're actually trying to get. Also, our experiences with some of the colourful locals, including some road rage incidents, some very interested locals as to why we've parked over their driveways, and some other encounters which are really quite interesting. We wanted to take our time going through all of these finds and the reasons why we're looking to shortlist some of these, and reasons why we couldn't shortlist some of these. And
some were a definite no, and some, when we got there, quickly discovered that you can't just look at some photos on a website and go, oh, that looks good. Because when you see it in real life, sometimes it doesn't look that good, or there's other factors that make you just go, yeah, that's not happening.
Electric.
It's a firm no. There was quite a few where we thought that They looked pretty good. And then as soon as we got there, it was like, nah.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
Twin Peaks, anyone? Shining, anyone?
Yeah.
Falling off a cliff, anyone?
Roof falling down in a spectacular fashion.
Yeah. Can't access it because there's 10 metres worth of snow in front of it.
Yeah. We learned a lot. We definitely learned a lot. I think it was a very worthwhile exercise.
And every town teaches us a little bit more about what we actually want. So,
and what we don't want.
100%. So a big part of this project, which is long term, is that we do want to set down roots in a town, and we feel that one of these towns could be it. But also, it's given us pause. We can also look at areas that weren't even on our shortlist. Maybe we'll need to look further afield. So we're not just going to jump straight in. We're definitely still very keen. But what's really the truth about buying an Akiya, really?
It's not something to rush into. I think it's the same with any property purchase. Just because you're looking at a much lower price point doesn't mean you're just going to dive in and grab the first one that you see, because everything has got its reasons that it is the way that it is. So you've got to really turn these over and look at it from every angle and consider, you might get a bargain basement price for it. That's great. But how much are you going to have to drop into it to get it to a habitable state? Because if that's the case, you may be better off just spending a bit more on something that doesn't need as much work. So there's a lot to take into account.
There is. And we'll go through each of those for each region as we visited them, so you can follow along on our journey as to what we found, our honest pros and cons of each of the towns, what it means from a potential business venture further down the line, the culture, the hotels, and really our sort of emotional connection to each of the towns as well. Thanks for being with us as we pull apart this journey. We'll also be dropping other videos that aren't necessarily Akiya focused, more a little bit about our adventures as we travelled around.
Yeah, because that was fun too. You sure?
It certainly was. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Continue holding on to your butts, because this is about to get interesting. Bye for now.
Bye.